But those are my opinions, and those are my opinions out of frustration, which all of us are allowed to have.
One president speaking about another, and some students are upset about it.
Local heroes, how people in the community are remembering those who served.
That kind of takes a toll after a while.
Life with a parent in politics will introduce you to one ELN student who is living it.
Good evening, ELN. I'm Brian Mazursky.
And I'm Scarlett Fakar. Our team is working hard to bring you the news that matters to you.
ELN Local News starts right now.
Facebook post from SGA President Darian Flowers left some students uneasy.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. When Barack Obama was re-elected, Flowers expressed his disapproval through social media. But it's what he said that is getting attention.
Steve Roth joins us live outside the SGA office with more. Steve?
Comments from SGA President Darian Flowers sparked some discussion over the past week. Flowers brought up the topic at last week's SGA weekly meeting on Thursday, and I was there.
I think it has been apparent on campus that Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, via some social media outlets, I commented on the presidential election.
President Flowers' words about the presidential election struck some students in the wrong way.
I don't know that he's intelligent, so when he made statements like, America is heading towards Spain when it's actually making it a recovery, or when America is, or like America's socialist president when some of the most successful countries in the world are socialist, I thought that was really idiotic.
Benegal isn't alone. Other students showed their disapproval directly to Flowers' Facebook comments, but not all students felt his comments were out of line, and Flowers himself says it's okay to disagree with leaders.
I'm human. I have faults. I am a person that is not some kind of organizational or governing robot, and that I have things that I believe personally and that I sometimes wish to express.
Although the comments themselves may have been considered harsh, ELN freshman Amaya Benegal believes Flowers specifically should avoid posting such thoughts.
This is not just any random person on Facebook. This is the SGA president of the executive board.
Before the posts, Flowers saw his role as the SGA president and his role as a voter from Central Ohio in a different light.
And I perceived it as there's a clear delineation between the two. And I was reminded that oftentimes there isn't.
Flowers stands by his opinions, but now realizes how his posts impacted other students. He doesn't regret the ideas behind the posts, but does regret using that medium to express them.
Flowers deleted the comments from Facebook when he realized that some students might be offended. Live outside the SGA office, Steve Roth, ELN Local News.
And another important issue was discussed at the SGA meeting last week.
Sean Patterson, their president, has since resigned. He has resigned for some personal reasons that are requiring him to not be on campus anymore for the remainder of the semester.
You heard it. Sean Patterson stepped down from his position as junior class president, and Allie Briggs is now the new president. She will fulfill Patterson's responsibilities for the rest of the term. Here's what Briggs had to say about her new position.
I'm really excited that I get to be the class of 2014 president. This is my third year in SGA, and this is the most important position that I've had so far. And I'm really excited to get to work with my other class officers and with the execs to really accomplish things that are important to the class of 2014.
Discussion about Chick-fil-A isn't over quite yet. Spectrum rewrote legislation about Chick-fil-A, changing it from a bill to a resolution. Spectrum is still looking for SGA to take a side with their beliefs. Before, the LGBTQ group wanted action, but now they're just asking SGA to take a stance. The resolution states that Chick-fil-A is a symbol of discrimination. The Student Government Association will vote on this next week.
Crime Watch, here's what's happening tonight. Remember that Smith-Jackson email about a brutal attack on Haggard Avenue last month? Well, police are now questioning if the attack ever happened. Tyler Fawcett, who is not an ELN student, told police a black male struck him on the head with a tire iron and stole his wallet. After a month of investigation, the case is now closed. According to the police report, Fawcett gave 2 ELN officers different stories about what happened that night. Police say the assault may never have happened at all. The only thing they know for sure is that Fawcett had a 1-inch gash on his head.
We checked his timeline, where he was at that night, who he left, who he left with. All these things provided information that showed that he was not being truthful with.
A former Texas Tech student who was convicted of attempting to use a weapon of mass destruction will be sentenced tomorrow. Khalid Aliem Aldasari is said to have attempted to purchase a large amount of phenol, a chemical that can be used to make homemade bombs. The purchase was made from Carolina Biological Supply right here in Elon. He faces life in prison when he is sentenced in Lubbock, Texas.
A hot topic in this year's election, the legalization of marijuana.
2 states legalized the recreational use of marijuana for the first time in U.S. history. Alex Rose joins us in the studio with more. Alex?
In Colorado and Washington state, smoking marijuana is not just for medicinal purposes anymore. I spoke with students and faculty about the effect this amendment could have across the nation.
Amendment 64 in Colorado's Constitution legalized the everyday use and sale of marijuana. If it was legalized in North Carolina, some students don't think much will change.
I mean, people that want to do it are already doing it.
I really don't think it's going to change the usage. It'll probably just change the number of arrests.
Very few Elon students call Colorado or Washington home, but some of those students were excited and looking forward to how it will help the state's economy.
I think it can really help the economy, especially if they add sales tax onto, the public selling of it. There could be job creation. They've talked about industrial hemp, and if that becomes a bigger industry in Colorado, then that can also create more jobs.
On the other hand, first-year Jack Vincenti is afraid that legal marijuana will just mean more abuse.
With alcohol, it's much easier to tell if someone is drunk, on the spot. But, with the easier access, students and or employees could easily do it before work.
The new amendment is expected to pull in $40 million from tax revenue. Much of the money will be put into public schools across the state, and Susanna DeChant is happy to hear it.
I was also really involved in the arts and music, and I know that my music teacher was, for a whole year was worried that he was going to lose his job.
One thing still stands: marijuana is a Category 1 drug, which means it is still illegal in the eyes of the federal government. But Elon professor Kenneth Fernandez thinks the federal government will let these states experiment.
We do believe that states have some autonomy and that our system works better when we allow some states to experiment.
After the amendments passed, both states have dropped all pending marijuana.
Since marijuana is illegal through the federal government, 3 congressmen from Colorado are working on a bill that would allow states like their own to legalize the drug. Representative Jared Polis tried this bill in 2011, hoping to avoid tension with the federal government, but that attempt failed. For Elon Local News, I'm Alex Rose.
Marriage equality was also on the ballots across the country, and many states voted in favor of same-sex marriage-related amendments. Maine, Maryland, and Washington all legalized gay marriage, and Minnesota voted against an amendment that would define marriage between a man and a woman. Gay marriage is still illegal in Minnesota, but voting down the amendment makes it more likely for same-sex marriage to be legalized in the future. Elon students have different views about these states' decisions.
It makes you really, really proud of those states. So I mean, as soon as it happened, we were all like, yay, more states.
If I had another opportunity to vote, I would continue to vote against it. If there were any chances for me to make a difference in that, I would attempt to. And so I don't agree with it.
On to an election issue here in the Tar Heel State. The results of North Carolina's lieutenant governor race are still unknown and could stay that way for a while. Republican candidate Dan Forrest declared victory on election night, but of the votes counted so far, he only won by about 11,000 votes. Democratic candidate Linda Coleman has until November 20th to call for a recount. Right now, her campaign says she is waiting for the results of roughly 45,000 provisional ballots that have yet to come in. That number could certainly change the outcome of the election. Elon Local News will bring you all the updates on this story as they happen.
Puerto Rico wants to become the 51st state. On Election Day, citizens voted in favor of statehood. Our Eric Halperin has more.
I'm actually kind of glad they voted.
Cristina Cartagena is a first-year student from Puerto Rico and looks forward to what will happen if Puerto Rico is an American state.
We will have more representatives in the Congress, and we can decide what we want for the island, because right now we have someone there in the Congress, but he has no vote, he just has a voice.
Cartagena isn't alone. Maggie Raychard is a Puerto Rican native as well and thinks it's about time.
I think it would benefit us a lot.
But they know it will take some time for their home island to become a state.
In order for Puerto Rico to become a state, both houses of Congress would need a majority vote. Puerto Rico is made up of mostly Democratic voters, and with a Republican-controlled House, passing the vote could be difficult.
I think for it to happen, everyone would have to agree. Right now the votes seem to be very split, and I think that if it ever were to happen or came close to happening, those who opposed it would do something about it, and I don't think we'll ever reach like a common goal.
I don't think it's going to happen in a while.
Puerto Ricans have voted on statehood before, but this is the first time it was passed. The Commonwealth would be the 51st state, and Cartagena likes the idea.
It would be so much better if we become a state.
Eric Halprin, ELN Local News.
The decision is in the hands of Congress. We'll keep you updated as we find out more.
New changes on campus. The Global neighborhood is going up fast by Lake Mary now. The new area has 4 buildings for student housing. Each holds about 150 students. The new Isabella Cannon International Center will be there with 5 language learning communities and a movie theater. There will also be a new dining hall and international cafe overlooking the lake.
Winter temperatures are taking over Elon, and one dorm is lacking heat. Students in Virginia are dealing with heating problems in their rooms and in the showers. It's been almost a week, and many students just want to be warm.
It's so inconvenient. I mean, like, every single day you go in to use the restroom or to shower, it's freezing, and you just dread it.
Elections were just last week, but one student has lived a political life for years.
It's years later, but memories for the veterans are still fresh. How local veterans are celebrating their holiday.
Bright lights, early shopping, Christmas is coming early this year.
Welcome back. It's weather time, ladies and gentlemen. As the rain fell today, it was dark and gloomy with temperatures in the 60s. And it was rather brisk for 8 a.m.ers as they were forced to walk in the low 50s. Now get the umbrella and rain boots out because you can expect some rain shortly after our broadcast continuing through the night. Let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. Today's rain will continue throughout the night into Tuesday, so prepare for that. But overall, not too shabby of a week. It'll feel like fall with temperatures staying in the 50s for the most part. Friday will be the best day to play some soccer or take a walk with temperatures hitting the 60s. But other than that, button up, especially when walking to class and, of course, when walking around in the evening. That's your 5-day forecast. I'm Joe Bruno. Back to Brian and Scarlett at the desk.
Thanks, Joe. Up north, people are still feeling the effects of Hurricane Sandy, and because of the damages here at Elon, the early application deadline for potential students has been pushed back. Early action applicants have until midnight tonight, November 12th, to submit all required documents. Elon Local News spoke to Interim Dean of Admissions Lisa Keegan about her reasoning behind the change.
Given the storm, the areas affected by Hurricane Sandy, primarily the Northeast, where we see large numbers of applications coming, we wanted to give each student from that area the opportunity to apply by the deadline that he or she wanted to.
Applicants with questions or concerns should contact the Office of Admissions.
And some say that the freedom that we have to report the news to you tonight and the freedoms that we have in this country comes from soldiers who have dedicated much of their time. Joe Bruno spent Veterans Day with some North Carolina vets and has their stories.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies.
They are your parents.
It's my honor to serve.
Your friends.
To give us freedom for the land.
And most importantly, they are heroes.
You know, it burst an old man's heart to look out over this sea of people who have gathered to show their love and respect for those who have fought and died to keep their nation free.
Hundreds gathered at Central Park in King for a Veterans Day celebration. Brigadier General Hoyle Kai served in the Air Force for 35 years and was the keynote speaker. For him, it wasn't a decision whether or not to serve, it was his duty.
But for or against, every man and woman I spoke with understood the debt that we owed to those who fought, especially those who are coming home anguished and crippled with the hidden wounds of war.
Their acts of service are all unique but courageous. All gave some, and some gave all.
Freedom is not free. There's a lot of people paid the price. In my area, Vietnam area, there's 53,000 and some that paid the supreme sacrifice.
A sacrifice worth honoring, and on Veterans Day, people from across the nation can rise together to celebrate America's freedom and those who fought to keep it that way.
And I'm glad to stand up next to you and defend her still today, because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
For veterans, it is a day of recognition, but for everyone else, it is a day to say thank you. Joe Bruno, ELN Local News.
ELN also honored veterans today. The ceremony was the first of its kind at ELN. An ELN professor and war veteran led the event with a prayer, a video tribute, and a roll call of current and retired veterans. More than 30 current ELN employees had their names called.
As the political signs come down, I have a story on one ELN student who will never stop her support.
For ELN freshman Ashlyn Ross, election season is full of memories.
There's campaigning and there's celebrating and there's failure.
But Ashlyn says not everyone can understand everything about elections.
Everyone just knows it as, you know, one party or the other. But when you get to see like how it affects the actual candidate, it's really interesting, especially when it's your father.
Ashlyn is the daughter of Stephen Ross, Burlington councilman who just won a seat in the North Carolina House of Representatives. The councilman says there's one thing that motivates him through his work, and that's his family.
That's what's made it work for me and kept me going. That's what keeps me going.
Ashlyn agrees that the family bond helps her through the tough times of having a parent in politics.
He's busy a lot when I'm home.
But Ashlyn says the benefits outweigh the negatives. She's been to almost every state in the country for conferences, figuring out what it's like to work in politics.
It's a great opportunity to really get to see what it's like behind the scenes.
As a father, that was a goal for Councilman Ross.
I have enjoyed teaching my kids as they grow up what I had wanted them to learn about civic responsibility and government.
For Ashlyn, she wants the public to know there's always more behind the candidate.
They don't really stop and think that, oh yeah, he does have a wife, oh yeah, he does have kids, their kids are in college or their kids are married, and in reality there is a family behind it that's helping out a lot.
The Ross family is taking a break from focusing on politics to enjoy their time together before Councilman Ross moves to his new position in Raleigh.
Coming up on ELN Local News, it doesn't seem like Thanksgiving coming up, but rather Christmas.
And a big weekend in ELN men's soccer. We'll be back with the highlights you don't want to miss.
Welcome back. The Mail Center is busy with all the online shopping we do, and even though buying your newest pair of jeans is convenient to do from your couch, it might not be the best way to get a deal. I have 5 tips on saving money while shopping online. First, if you find something you want to buy from a website that has an actual store nearby, call ahead, make sure the store has the item in stock, and then go pick it up. You'll save a bunch of money on the shipping, which actually adds up quick. On the topic of shipping, keep your eyes peeled for free shipping deals. Sign up for your favorite website's email list. You'll know when shipping is free and get the best deal for your money. Coupons are no longer in the Sunday newspaper. Find the coupon you need with the click of a button. Websites like Retail Me Not offer discounts that are easy to use. All you have to do is type in the website you want to buy from, choose the coupon you want, and there is a code to add at checkout. Next, are you really sure you need that? It's a question we should all be asking before pressing the checkout button. To make sure it's a smart purchase, let that t-shirt sit in your cart for a day. If after 24 hours you still think you need it, then enter your credit card information. And finally, nothing costs you more money than having your information stolen. Be sure that websites you're using are reputable. You don't want anyone to get a hold of your payment information. There are a few ways to protect yourself. If a website is secure, you'll see a lock. Don't trust anything that does not have that icon. And don't shop on public Wi-Fi. you don't know who else can access it. Looking out for the college consumer, I'm Julie Morse.
Thanks, Julie. Those tips will certainly come in handy this month because 'tis the season for Christmas shopping. And according to a 2011 American Research Group study, the average American spent just under $650 on Christmas gifts last year. Our Addie Haney spoke to one ELN student who loves Christmas starting in November.
It's only November, but signs of Christmas are already appearing around ELN.
I know, I really hope we get snow.
And ELN senior Christine Mavroganis is already prepping her house for the season.
Well, when you're a kid, you have to really, there's just a natural magic in the air, and it's sad when I hear people say that the magic no longer exists when you get older. So I kind of take it upon myself to be like a recreator of that magic.
Mavroganis says she's always loved celebrating Christmas early because it reminds her of family, but this year she's decorating even earlier than usual.
I think that I'm just realizing this is my last year to celebrate at school, so I'm really gonna decorate as much as I can. And I know that my mom's decorating at home, so I kind of want to be decorating here too.
But Mavroganis isn't the only one who's bringing in the season early. Already, stores like Pier 1 Imports and Bath & Body Works are hosting holiday sales. And because of that, researchers are predicting that this holiday buying season will be a healthy one. According to a 2012 National Retail Federation prediction, consumers can expect solid growth this holiday season, in which overall sales will increase 4.1% from last year's total. But despite the increase in sales, Mavroganis says that the season is less about the gift giving and more about the spirit.
If I said what I would want my ideal Christmas to be, it would be my family and I hanging around the fire, telling stories about what we've been doing since we're all older and spread out a little bit, and celebrating with people that we love.
Addie Haney, ELN Local News.
The team played for the last time at Rhodes Stadium. We have all the highlights after the break.
Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
Last time you blocked someone, you were online.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Really?
Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Incredibly successful season found them ranked for the first time since 2006. The men's soccer team looked towards the SoCon tournament, where the top-seeded Phoenix had a date with Georgia Southern in the semifinal match on Thursday night. Let's get to the action. In the early moments of the first half, Georgia Southern moved the ball well, and Joe Hughes is able to get past Nathan Dean, but his shot is blocked by Mark Berlin, who came out of nowhere to save the day. In the 35th minute now, Matt Wesko uses a nice give and go with Jordan Smith, and his shot is denied, but Chris Thomas is there to put in the ELN goal, making it an early 1-0 lead. The Phoenix would continue to impress with strong possession, but in the 65th minute, Southern's best chance to equalize comes from Whit Carlisle, but his shot clinks off the crossbar and eventually out of play. ELN would hold on and move on to the championship game against Wofford. After the big win, ELN would have to wait just 2 more days until they face Wofford in the final. The fans came out to carry in full support for their Phoenix. After ELN went up 1-0 early, the team had a chance to extend their lead off a corner as Charles Howard collects the ball and almost puts in the shot, but it goes just wide. You can see the passion these players had for this championship. Wofford would answer in the second half with a 71st minute header off a corner for a goal, leveling the game at 1 apiece. The Terriers were ecstatic to be back in the game, but just a few minutes later, the senior Gabe Latigue would take a free kick and nail it for the game-winning goal. What a moment for the team as they would see their lead move up to 2-1 with only 10 minutes left in the game. The score would remain the same until the end, giving ELN back-to-back SoCon championships for the first time in school history. Saturday was also a big day for ELN sports, as it was the last time we would see the football team play this year at Rhodes Stadium. The boys tried to make it a memorable one, but the Sanford Bulldogs would have none of it. Let's get to the game. Here we go, the last home game of the year. The Bulldogs showed their dominance early and often. In the first quarter, Fabian Truss is going to punch this one in from the 1-yard line to make the score 10-0. And then later in the half, Andy Summerlin is going to connect with Kelsey Pope for a nice 4-yard touchdown that would put Sanford up big. Although ELN had a tough time, Aaron Millette would not be stopped. The senior caught 10 balls for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in his final game at Rhodes Stadium, where he and his quarterback, Thomas Wilson, have connected many a time. As for Wilson, it didn't go so well. He was constantly under pressure all day, getting sacked here by Darrell Hill and then later by Justin Shade. Speaking of under pressure, here's Fabian Truss again, flying up the middle of the ELN defense and breaking a few tackles along the way to bust out a 75-yard run that would put this game out of distance. The final score on senior day, Sanford 26, ELN 15.
That's everything we have for this ELN Local News. Thanks, Jamie.
For all the news that matters to you, check out our website, elonlocalnews.com.
Also, don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter.
From all of us here at ELN Local News, have a great week, ELN.